Welcome, latest episode of Talking Season. I'm your host, Ryan McNeil. Thrilled to be joined by Ben Whipple, a baseball player at the University of Hawaii. Ben, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
First question for you, Ben, is how and when did you fall in love with baseball?
Yeah, so I've always been playing baseball from an early age. I can remember since I was 4 or 5 years old, me and my dad would go out in the backyard. Every day he'd get home from work and just throw the ball around. And I mean, now that kind of looking back on that, I think I took those memories for granted while it happened. But I think baseball was kind of, the true outlet where I could, kind of bond with my dad, and create those memories with him. And so I would say I truly, found my love for baseball probably in middle school, where it kind of became more serious, and it was less of, baseball is always fun, but it was more of, the competition aspect of it rather than, just going out there and hanging out with friends. And so I really love the competition, like I said, just being able to compete, while always like developing those memories with my dad. So I think those are the two kind of main things that made me fall in love.
I would have loved to have been a baseball student athlete. You have a chance to be a baseball student athlete. How much better is that experience playing in Hawaii? Isn't that like baseball in paradise?
Oh, absolutely. During my recruiting process was a little bit of, a roller coaster. Right out of the gate, I didn't have a lot of schools that I was super interested in. A lot of D2s, a lot of JUCOs. Couldn't really get anything rolling. And then I remember I went to a showcase where I brought a little pocket radar, and I set that up to a video, so it kind of showed the pitch and then the velo speed. And I hit a couple big numbers, and I kind of just sent them out mass emails. And I remember one day I was actually golfing with a couple of my buddies, and I kind of just got this text out of nowhere saying, "Hey, this is Coach from Hawaii. Like, we're super interested. How would you like to sit down and talk?" And I was like, this is literally the best case scenario. And, like you said, coming out here to play baseball in the greatest place on earth, at the University of Hawaii, while also playing the game that I love, it's just an unreal opportunity. I couldn't be more thankful that I've been able to take it.
Being Canadian, I am in a different country, but I'm also on the other side of North America. And I remember when I went to Australia, I spent some time surfing in Hawaii, loved it. However, just the travel aspect of getting from Hawaii back home here in Ontario was a grind. What's that like for you as a baseball player? I know you guys play 3 games, you go away for a weekend, but still, does it take you a day to get acclimated to the new place? Like, how does that mess with your sleep patterns? Again, I would love being in Hawaii, but is travel one of the downsides to this?
Yeah, I mean, you make a great point. I've always hated plane rides. I'm 6'5" myself, so I could just never get used to them. Like, I'm always trying to make myself comfortable, and so that was one of the main kind of, I don't want to say downsides, but maybe doubts in my mind about coming here. But yeah, it's definitely something you got to get used to. I think, back when I was recruited, our coach tried to schedule, so they want to do, like, we would play out in California for conference for a month straight, just so we weren't having to fly back and forth. And unfortunately, I don't think this year that scheduling turned out, because we've been flying pretty much back and forth every weekend from California. But they usually they'll schedule the flights early in the morning on, I want to say, either Tuesday or Wednesday. And so, kind of with the goal that, you're still tired, you can sleep through the flight, and then, get there, kind of have the rest of the day to, like you said, be acclimated with the time change, just do whatever you need to do to get in that baseball mode and be ready to play. And then we'll usually have a practice on Thursday, still trying to kind of get used to that time change. And then play our series from Friday to usually on Sunday, and then fly back early Monday morning. So it definitely hasn't been easy, and it definitely takes some getting used to, but you kind of find your ways around it to make it easier.
I'm not sure if it's this downtime when you're on the airplanes traveling or after practice, but you're about to finish your freshman season. When you're having these moments of reflection and kind of like, man, I'm a college baseball player. This is awesome. What are some of the highlights from your freshman season?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think just the overall aspect of, especially during the fall, just like kind of realizing, like, where all my hard work up throughout high school and middle school has gotten me, and just kind of like because I'll find myself taking it for granted and just being caught up with all the stress of either homework or practice or because being a student athlete's a job, and so I've never had to deal with this amount of hours of practice or this amount of schoolwork, and so you have to be able to manage your time well, but you kind of get caught up in all this stress, moving out to a completely different place, being 6 hours away from home, being on a 4-hour time difference than your family. And so that kind of distracts you from the actual, feeling that you're in Hawaii playing the game that you love, like you said. So kind of just getting over that hump after the first couple months of being out here, and just being able to, be myself, be free, have fun. I think that would definitely be the main highlight, and just also like meeting all the awesome guys on the team. There's a bunch of like Hawaiian natives on the team who have totally brought us in with open arms. Invited us to cookouts, invited us to family dinners, and really made us feel special on a part of the island. And so they've made that freshman year extremely memorable for me.
I was reading online that when Vanderbilt came to play you guys, completely sold out. What was the atmosphere like for those games?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. As a freshman, you step out on the field for the first time. You see all the giant rows of seats. You see the lights. You see everything. And it's the greatest feeling in the world. Like I said, it kind of takes you back to all the hard work that you put in to get here. But I mean, I remember going out there and just being so nervous that I blacked out. Like I had so much adrenaline. I remember like I don't remember anything running from the bullpen to throwing my warm up pitches, and I just kind of woke up right when I got back into the dugout, and it's just a surreal experience. You got a ton of awesome Hawaii fans out here, and I think the stadium holds around 4,000 people, and so they're cheering, they're super loud, and Hawaii doesn't have any professional sports teams, and so this is kind of they go all out for the University of Hawaii, in their sports, and so they get crazy, they get rowdy at the games, and it's a really cool experience.
Who are some pitchers that you try and model your game after? This is maybe more of a basketball or a football question, I think, but I'm curious who maybe you've loved watching pitch. I'm curious for pitch selection, who you kind of pick up some stuff from. Who are some pitchers that kind of made an impact on you as a young pitcher?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main guy would be Tyler Glass now for the Rays. I'm a big guy. He's a big guy. We both have that 12-6 curveball. And I think that we kind of have the same pitch arsenal. And so that's really a guy where I'll watch highlights. I'll watch how he tunnels his different pitches. I'll watch how he approaches different batters, and kind of model my stuff after him. Another guy, and I might be biased because he's got red hair as well, but it would be Dustin May for the Dodgers. And I know he's been out for a while, but I think those two would definitely be the main influences on my game in the major leagues.
I know it's tricky with the time change, but maybe even before you came in Hawaii, when you had a free night and you're sitting at home with your dad or you're sitting home with some buddies, who's a team or who's a player that you love to just watch play?
Yeah, I would say the Rockies, but they are absolutely atrocious, and so it's hard watching them these past couple years. But
They're
I mean, I
doing better
definitely
this season. They're in the
they are.
mix at least so far.
Yeah, they are. They're giving me hope this season for sure. But I was born and raised in Colorado, moved out to California for I think 3 or 4 years during when I was 10 or so, during the Bay Area, and so I've always been kind of like an Oakland A's fan at heart, and so I think that would be the main team that I like watching, besides the Rockies, of course.
One of the things that I love talking about, and I'm not sure it's hit and miss with athletes if they like getting into this kind of stuff, but I love to hear when athletes have dealt with adversity and how it's made them stronger on the baseball field or off the baseball field. So I don't know if you want to talk a little more about your recruitment and how that went. I don't know if you got homesick or had a tough time adjusting to living in Hawaii, even though it's paradise. When's the time that you faced adversity, and how do you feel that that experience has helped you grow as a man and as a baseball player?
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably the main thing would be, like I said, coming out here and just constantly having either baseball practice or schoolwork or, something to do. And if we're not at either of those, if we're not, either in the library or on the baseball field, then we're catching up on sleep. And I think it was a huge leap kind of from my senior year in high school to this year because I mean, senior year in high school baseball, like we'd have practices for a couple hours, probably 3, 4 times a week. And then, school, it was senior year and I had already committed. And so, it was, second half of senior year, it wasn't terribly challenging. And so I could kind of, I had a lot of downtime. I had a lot of free time that I wouldn't want to say slack off, but I could definitely procrastinate
You
certain
could
things.
coast a little bit.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think I kind of carried that same mindset over here, and I was brutally awakened by, just the how difficult it is to manage your time. I mean, from going to especially during the fall, like 6 a.m. weights every day, and then we'd go to class from 9 to 12, and then we'd have practice, from 2 to 5, and then, we'd have to finish homework and we'd have study hall and you try to get to bed at a reasonable hour because you have to wake up that early the next day. And so that hit me pretty hard, just having to stay on top of stuff, especially the homework assignments, and couldn't be more thankful that we have Mr. McClellan, who's kind of our academic advisor, helping us out with all that kind of stuff. But I definitely think that was probably the most challenging part. And then even on top of that, keeping contact with family and making sure to call them once a week and making sure that you can still keep in contact with them.
Who are some people who've helped you reach this point? Is it a coach? Is it your parents? Is it a teammate? Who's someone you want to give a shout out to for helping you out along this way to becoming a student athlete at Hawaii?
Yeah, I mean the main person that comes to mind is my dad, because he's always been really good at pushing me, um, until the point where I know I can do it and I can find kind of I can find it within myself, but not going too far to where I'm miserable or I'm not enjoying the sport anymore. And so he's always been really good at just making sure that I know that it's supposed to be fun. It's a game. You're playing this for a reason, and there's no reason to be stressed or worried about it. Because like I said, at the end of the day, it is a game. And I can't tell you how much anxiety or stress that's lifted off me, even in the performance world, where just knowing that at the end of the day, whether I pitch good or I pitch bad, he's going to come up to me after the game, give me a big hug, and he's going to be the same person. Another person that definitely influenced me in my game was my grandpa, because he played in the NBA for 10 years and also coached in the NBA. And so he's kind of been there and experienced it, played basketball at University of Kentucky. And so he's definitely shed a lot of knowledge to me, during my low points and, during my high points, especially to just, keep your head down, keep working, and not to get caught up in, all the noise for sure.
Ben, thank you for your time today. Best of luck with the rest of your career at Hawaii.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.